Alrighty, welcome back. So here we are doing parts 2 and 3 of our example problem. And we are now going to go further and investigate what we are talking about, which is a home mortgage. We're going to investigate what happens to the payment and to the interest paid if you change the term of the loan. Now, the term of the loan is the length of the loan. So if you change the term of the loan from 30 years down to 25 years, let's see what happens. Our monthly payment is going to change, and it's going to now become I need to change that to red. It's a little bit easier to see on this dark blue background. Payment's going to equal. Now, the interesting thing about when you do this second and third calculation is the numerator's not going to change. The number 399.375 is still going to remain the same even though we're changing our years, because the only place that gets a change, let me go back and show you. The only place that gets a change is right in here, and I'm going to indicate that in green. We're going to change that to 25 years. Everything else in the numerator stays the same because our interest rate isn't changing and our 12 payments per year isn't changing. So these are staying the same, so is this, and the rest of it's staying the same. The only thing that's changing is that 30 changes to a 25. So basically, all I have to do here is now, in the denominator, it'll be 1 minus parentheses 1 plus parentheses 0.0375 divided by 12. Now we're going to raise that to the negative nt power. So n is 12 and t, however, is 25. So the only thing you're changing is this 25 right here. It was a 30, now it's a 25. So in my head, when I multiply 12 times 25, I get 300. So my exponent is now a negative 300. When I put that into my calculator using the same process that I did last time, and I could show you, I'll probably do it again when I do this problem over here, but when I did this, I got the denominator of 0.607,821,506. So my numerator of 399.375 stays the same, but I got a different denominator because of the difference in the number of years going down to 25. And when you divide that out, you get $657.059, really 0.0596, which really ends up being $657.06, or that's 6 cents. So our payment changes to $657.06. And to figure out the total interest paid over the 25 years, you take the $657.06 and you multiply that times 12. Now this time, since we're only doing 25 years instead of 30, I'm going to multiply that times 25. And when I did that on my calculator, I got $197,118. And when that's how much you're paying total over the 25 years. So now to find out how much interest I'm earning, I'm going to subtract, or how much of that was the interest. I subtract the money for the house, which was $127,800, and I got $89,318. So this is how much interest I'm paying over 25 years. All right, now let's move over to 20 years. It's now going down to 20 years. So once again, the only thing that's changing is this thing right here is now going to become a 20. So it looks like this. Our payment is going to equal $399.375. And now my denominator is going to be 1 minus parentheses 1 plus 0.0375 over 12 raised to the negative 12 times 20 power, which becomes 240. 12 times 20 is 240. Now I'm going to actually take you to the calculator now and show you once again how I figure this denominator, because this is tricky. I'm going to start with the 0.0375 divided by 12, then I'm going to add the 1, then I'm going to raise it to the negative 240 power, then I'm going to subtract it from 1. So let's go over to our calculator one more time. I want you to see this because this is the hardest calculation to get right. Okay, so we're going to take and we're going to do the 0.0375 and divide that by 12. Okay, then we're going to add 1. Okay, then we're going to raise that, so that's the housetop key, to the negative 240 power. And I press enter. Okay, that number needs to be subtracted from 1. So I'm going to do 1 minus second answer. That subtracts it from 1 and press enter. 0.52708072201 is my denominator. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my PowerPoint, and that's what I'm going to write down as my denominator. Oops. It's going to equal 399.375 divided by this huge decimal, which is 0.52708072201. Okay, when you actually go back to your calculator and divide that out, okay, so I'm now going to do 399.375, and I'm going to divide that by my answer. So second answer gets me that entire long, huge decimal in my denominator. And the answer for your payment is $757.711. So here we go. We need to write that as our answer for our payment. And I'm going to round it up to $757.72, because you always round up. So to figure out what your total interest paid over 20 years is, you now take 757.72 times 12 times 20 this time. Be sure you use the 20, not the 25 and not the 30, and you get $181,852.80. When you subtract the $127,800 from that, you're going to get $54,052.80. Okay, we are now pretty much through with our calculations, but we need to look at some of the changes that are going on, because that's going to be required for our third part. This is part 3. We're going to make some predictions and draw some conclusions based on what we've found out from our calculations. What we're going to ask you is, what do you see happening as you shorten the length of the loan? Make a prediction of what will happen if the loan is shortened to 15 years. Well, let's look back and see what's going on. First of all, we started off with a payment of $591.87, but we were paying $85,000 to the bank in interest. When you shortened the loan to 25 years, our payment went up to $657, but our interest paid went down to $89,000. So our payment went up, I'd say approximately $60, give or take, maybe $70. So our payment went up $70, but the interest that we paid went down from, $85,000 to $69,000. That's a difference of about $15,000. Let's see if that holds true on this next part. Well, when you make the term 20 years, your payment does go up to $757,000, which is an increase of $100 per month. However, you're paying another $15,000 less. Over the years, in interest. Okay, so it looks like every time you drop it 5 years, you're going to take about $15,000 off of your interest paid over this loan, the time of this loan. So, in my analysis, your payments go up, but the interest paid goes down. So, here's what I would say. If the loan is shortened to 15 years, comma, the monthly payment will go up to around, and this is just a guesstimate, but what I was noticing was it was going up. The first one went up 70, the second payment went up 130. I'm guessing this one's going to go up $160 to around $890. Now that's just my best guess, okay? While at the same time, the interest paid over the term of the loan will go down. To about $39,000. Well, that's a big difference. And you started off paying $85,273 to the bank for this loan, and now it's gone down to less than half of that if you drop the loan's payments down or the years of the loan from 30 to 15. So that is my analysis. I hope this has been helpful to you. I'm going to stop now.